Okay, so thank you, Peter, for attending the 8th Annual First Nations Major Projects Coalitions Conference. We really appreciate your time. And as a sustaining partner, we'd like to know, what are your key takeaways from the conference today?
First of all, a true pleasure to be here again this year. Just a marvelous event. A key takeaway would be that the world wants, and I would advocate needs, our natural resources.
Yes.
And our economic security really depends upon achieving that outcome. And as well, we need to do it at speed and at scale.
Yes.
Clearly, First Nations are key to that path and that potential outcome. And the need for us to be collaborating early, for the discussions to be able to occur, to be able to achieve, on the one hand, recognizing the economic benefit for a project to go forward, but also the balance or the considerations associated with environmental stewardship. And when you can achieve an outcome that lands in that, some balance in that particular space, then the opportunity for there to be consent and for the project to be able to drive forward, as it were.
Yes.
So that's just such an imperative for us as Canadians and for First Nations and the broader community.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I have to agree with you that we have to all come together in order to make this work, and especially if we're going to speed up on projects, we all have to really rely on one another, and especially with the Indigenous side of things as well. So, yeah, very important comment. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. As a leader in global infrastructure leading firm. What do you feel that the critical factors for a successful project led and supported by Indigenous communities?
There's a couple of things that one can frame, certainly as enablers with some potential headwinds.
Right.
So one is the regulatory framework or the amount of time it takes for us collectively to be in a position for a project to move forward.
That's right. That's right.
And I, at the risk of sounding as I'm exaggerating, I don't talk to anyone who is happy with respect to the amount of time that takes.
Right.
Be the first to say I'm not talking about shortcuts in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
We need to have the level of diligence and robustness in the dialogue to ensure that we're working through the important considerations and ensuring that certainly the First Nations voice is fully heard and fully addressed, as it were. But at the same token, though, there is an imperative to streamline the process, to make it more predictable,
Right.
and just to enable that path to be better understood. So as a professional services company, that is a space that we're very active in with respect to the complexities of that whole regulatory framework, and ranging from the federal, provincial, even to municipal government, and just the complexity of that whole landscape, and we need to navigate that as it's in front of us. But also the need, as I say, for that to be less complicated, as we go forward.
Right.
And the second piece is dollars, is capital.
Yes.
And
yes.
Clearly a lot of discussions here at the conference, and that continue to go on through the course of the past years, and certainly over the more recent time, momentum gathering there through the various provincial loan guarantee programs, and then of course the recent federal program. So some positive things happening there, but
Yes.
but more work to be realized in terms of the outcome. But those two things coming together, though, I really believe will enable us to take us steps forward.
Yes, I have to agree with you that I think the infrastructure project or program is definitely going to help pave the way to move to get the infrastructure we need to move our resources, right? So I feel pretty confident that the Indigenous are on side with that, as they see the value in it now, right? Whereas
right,
before
sure.
we didn't understand it, so now we do, and I think
Yeah.
it's time and they want to be part of it, right? I mean,
Right.
they want to move along with
Yeah.
our industry partners, right?
Right.
Companies such as yourself. Well, that's great. Thank you. Just, I guess, when we're talking about, new models of collaboration with Indigenous, have you heard or seen any of the new models here at the conference that would help us develop future infrastructure that may help us unlock the Canadian economy?
Just reflecting upon the work that we have underway,
Yeah.
we find ourselves working directly for a First Nation or First Nations.
Yeah.
Certainly we work for private industry and we work for all levels of government, as well.
Yes.
So there's just this whole grouping of different permutations that can pull all of that together. Clearly, as we go forward with the benefit that will come from more instances where the First Nation is the proponent,
Yes.
that's where we need to get to.
Yes.
Ways to go to have that be a more significant part of the variety of different ways that projects are going forward at the moment, but see a path for us to collectively ultimately get there. So that to me is clearly key, and obviously with that comes the economic benefits, and supplement with that employment opportunities, and then in that instance lifting up the First Nation, lifting up the community, lifting up the overall country, all that that kind of path. So it's navigating that landscape to get back there, and then that comes back to particularly to the availability to capital piece that we chatted about briefly earlier.
Yes. Yeah. Good comment. Thank you, Peter. Just my last question. What do you hope to see or hear more about at next year's conference?
Yeah, and I think it extends just from your last comment in terms of how we can continue to improve.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm optimistic that will indeed be the case. How we come together in different types of partnership, and how we are positioning to have all of these conversations play out with a level of credible speed, while still respecting the robustness of the process. That whole path, to me, is the path that we are on, but the path that we need to accelerate even further, as it were. And I frankly, I don't think there's anything we can't achieve, frankly, coming together and to put our focus on being able to collectively be able to drive forward and ultimately make a difference and come back to the increased amount of economic security that we all need, and that we would all benefit by having First Nations be prominent in that space.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I feel that perhaps it's a panel on an Indigenous perspective on best practices of what's worked for them.
Right,
especially when we see some of these groups where a whole collective of 8 nations came together, right, to purchase a piece of the pipeline or to do an energy project or what have you. So it'd be great to hear from them and let industry know.
Right.
This is what worked for us, and this is why, right?
Yes,
and I
exactly.
think that would say a lot to industry, and let them know. It's great to hear from industry. And we know there's, but there are. They would like. I think they would like to hear more about, what's working on your end, and how could we help smooth that along, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. There's nothing that builds upon future success than a current success, and to be able to learn from that, share, and to then be able to multiply that outcome going forward. So fully agree.
Yeah. Right on. Okay. That's it for me, Peter. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure to chat.
Yeah, nice chatting with you.
Thank you.